How are you?
Oh, good, Mr. Adams. Doing pretty okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So I apologize. I was finishing up my last call. I think we had it down for 3:30, so I'm running a little behind. But I have your email, and I know you found us on Copa, and I just wanted to get just sort of a summary of what you're hoping to accomplish by having an attorney involved, and maybe a little bit more information about your 6-year-old.
Yeah. I'm not really good with being timed and not being, in person. I
Okay.
wrote a little like notes or something that I would like to tell you. Would you like me to read that, and then we can discuss, whatever based off what I wrote, just because I'm a very nervous person.
Sure.
This whole ordeal has
No,
me
that's
just,
okay.
I'm so
So,
sorry.
here, let me ask some questions. And
Yes.
I have your email and I see it, so I can read it. So, what are you looking? In terms of what I didn't see in the email was what specifically you're looking to get for your son. What are you hoping to get? And to what better program are you hoping to achieve? Is it a private school?
No, well,
Are you asking?
yeah,
Okay.
the thing is, at first I was asking for a placement. My son was actually enrolled in school, and I was going with him every single day, and he was in a general ed classroom, with the neurotypical students or whatever. I don't
Okay.
know what the proper terms are. And so,
Yeah, that's correct.
yeah, he didn't do well, and so they told me of the other options that might happen after his IEP. So I wanted to take a look for myself to see if it was a good placement for him. And one of the places they had told me that they might send him to was a classroom, Miss Marroquin's class. So I
Okay.
went in and I noticed that there's children of different ages, children with different developmental learning, I don't disabilities, I don't know, or
Yeah.
and I was speaking to the teacher, and I asked her, like, hey, how do you do this to be able to be with all these students and try to teach each and every one of them? Like, aren't they all in different, like, learning levels? And she was like, yes, they are. Sometimes it's very difficult for me. There's times that I've had children who have tried to run out of the classroom, and I'd had to stand at the foot of the door. And some children, like, they would stick out the middle finger, then other children would learn from it, so then I would have to try to focus on that. And so she was trying to tackle all these different types of challenges. And to me, I was like, Miss Marroquin, like, how can a child learn? Like how would my son, if he came here after his IEP, how would he be able to be taught, by the pace that, a neurotypical child should be, taught by? I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just
Yeah, it
it.
does.
And
Yeah.
so she was like, I have a strong heart for these children. I'll try my best, and I promise you. And I was like, it's not against you. It's not anything about you. Like, how do you not have more help? Like, how is it that it's just you and this one other TA? And why is it like this? So I decided to go to the LAUSD Board of Education, and I said a speech there. And I think I sent you the speech. I'm not sure if you had a chance to take a look at it, but basically I made a suggestion saying you guys should have something built for these children, something, where you can separate them, where they can have their own little place setting. I spoke to Beth Kaufman, which is the superintendent. I'm sorry, she's the assistant superintendent of the special ed department for all of LAUSD. She put me to this
Okay.
room, and she was like, okay, well, can you let me know what's going on? I told her what was going on. I told her that we should have something built for children like my son who has autism, and the rest of the children in the class, because I didn't want to leave them behind. So she kind of was like, well, have you ever heard of, there's some special earphones that children can use to, block out noise. And I would counter by telling her, yes, I bought my son those $6 earphones. And yes, and she'd tell me, well, that there's a special bungee cords that they can play with their chairs on. And I would tell her, ma'am, like, you're not listening to me. That's something added extra for, in the class when you have it all built. But what I'm saying is separate them from the ugly classroom they have right now, where they're all together in one put them by ages, put them by what their needs are, and get the help, get the ABA teams, the OT teams, the speech therapists, and provide these children what they need. That's what I'm telling you. So she told me, okay, well, what we can do is we might be able to do a pilot program. I said, okay, great. She said, okay, get the IEP first, and then we'll talk about the pilot program. So I decided to pull him out of school because he just couldn't. He was having too many episodes. He was not happy, and I was not happy. And so I thought, okay, I'll bring him back if she keeps her her word on having the pilot program built, which is what I was saying, I call it a mini school, but the setting. So it was just basically, I only was asking for 2 bungalows, 2 classrooms each, and splitting the children a maximum of maybe 6 to each, not shipping out all the children with autism to different other schools, because this is the school where their home address belongs to. So I made all these suggestions. So I got my son assessed. We had I'm sorry, before we had the IEP, I thought to myself, okay, what is this IEP? I'm going to have to sign something for her to listen to me. But I felt very cornered, because I thought, if I sign something, that means that I'm basically saying, oh yes, let me go ahead and sign a placement here in this school. But they don't have it. They don't have anything that I'm happy with. So I emailed Beth Kaufman and I told her, you know what, Miss Kaufman, I feel very cornered right now. I feel like we should talk about that pilot program prior to his IEP signing, because I'll sign the IEP once that program is built, and I'm happy to send my son to school there. I'll feel okay with.
In the meantime, would you consider the district paying for a private school until it's built, this pilot program?
The thing is, sir, that I would have to really, really consider all those things. And the reason why, Mr. Adams, is because my heart is a completely rare. I have this curse where I care so much about, like, being there for a child. And it's not just my son. I feel like everybody goes down that route. Like, every parent is like, because LAUSD is going to be able to pay off everyone that comes to complain. They can. They didn't to me. I don't know why. Only God knows why it went down this route. But they're able to. A parent's gonna say, hey, wait a minute, you're not giving my son this, and I'm gonna go ahead and get a lawyer, and then we're gonna get what my son needs. But I feel like if I do that, then I leave everybody else behind. And I feel like this has to be bigger than that. This has to be that. Personally, and this is the part where I wanted to read you what I wrote. I actually would like to file a Class A lawsuit against LAUSD on behalf of every child who has had to encounter anything like this, because I believe that they're discriminating children. They're not abiding by the law, and it's just injustice what's happening. I also felt in my heart that we should file a Class A lawsuit against the city of Southgate, because these parents and we've purchased homes here in Southgate, and we pay our taxes, and every time they build a school, they just send everybody a letter saying, hey, we're gonna raise the taxes because we just built this school around the corner. And it's like, okay, there's nothing we can do. But they're allowing LAUSD to not have a place for my child with his disability in his home school. Also, when I spoke to Beth Kaufman, when she agreed to go to the school to before the IEP signing, she went with the intentions of just completely telling me, no, it's not going to happen, which she didn't do. It. She had her, I think it was her program manager and her, I think the district manager of the local East District, they went, and they're the ones who ended up telling me, no, it's not going to happen. There's not enough room. It has to do with square, something about like every child per square foot of the school, and a whole lot of mumbo jumbo, but clearly telling me, no, we're not going to build your place setting. So when I countered by asking them, okay, let me ask you a question. does anybody come to these schools to, do some kind of a review? Like, when you go to a restaurant and they check to see if the rags are in the buckets for, longer than 2 hours, or to see if you've cleaned the grill enough, and they give you a grade 8. Does that happen here for these schools? And they said yes. They said the state of California does this thing called the district validation review process. And so they come and they check out the school to see if it being, if they're following, the rules or the laws, or, being in compliance with the least restrictive environment and whatnot. And so I asked them, I said, can I get a hold of these records? Because I cannot possibly process in my brain someone who walked into this school, went into that classroom, saw that there's one teacher, one TA, and all these children, and said, hey, let me go ahead and check off that this is okay. I mean, it just does not make I cannot comprehend where exactly that would be an okay. So I wanted to challenge that as well, not only for our school, but for every single school in the district, sir, because they themselves told me, well, LAUSD is in charge of 600,000 students, 85,000 of them have disabilities. And to me, it was like, yes, but 85,000 of them matter. They all matter. It's just a matter of which parents are aware of what's going on, which are not, which probably care, which probably don't. But me, sir, I care. I do care. I personally think that LAUSD should not exist at all. I think that we should do something to break them completely apart and have every city have their own district, so that we could be able to provide these children what they need with the taxes that we're giving. Not, go ahead and place palm trees in the middle of the intersection because it looks nice. It just... And I know how I must sound to you, Mr. Adams. I must sound like just a horrific, crazy parent, but...
No, not at all. I mean, I've been involved in politics for many years, but really, and for the past 6 years, I've been working in my county, and I live in Orange County, to change the system. And the only way you can do that is by talking to your elected officials, talking to school board members, because the concern is at LAUSD, there's been many people in the past that tried to dismantle LAUSD because it is a monster school district. I grew up in Los Angeles, so I know how big it is. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and it covers, the San Fernando Valley as well.
Right.
So you've got so many different schools, and what we've seen happen over the years is a lot of charter schools, public charter schools have been forming out of with parents are just concerned or have discontent over the district's operations.
Right.
So what you may want to consider is that some of these schools that are in your community, you have a right as a parent to go talk to other parents and get signatures of at least half the number of people in those schools, and you can convert and make that an independent public school on your own, as long as you can convince the other parents at school that they want to convert that school. That's all you have to do. So you get 50% of parents in your school or in your neighborhood schools that say you want to separate from LAUSD, then you're allowed to use the law says you're allowed to do that.
Really?
You can convert your school to a public charter, and it becomes separate from Los Angeles Unified.
And then who funds who would fund the school?
The state would directly fund your public charter school.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because LAUSD is going to fight you, and they're going to tell lies, and they're going to try to call parents. And I had this happen in a school that we helped convert, and my this is really my volunteer practice on the outside. I do special education law for a living, but what I do in my free time is education reform. And so what I try to do is I try to improve the public school system as much as I can through this political process. And so we had a school in Anaheim called the Palm Lane School. And the Palm Lane School, it was in your situation. They had a bad school district, not as big as LAUSD, but really not interested in helping families. Had a lot of families that just really didn't. They were very upset with how the school district was running their programs.
Right.
So there was a community organizer that came in, helped them get signatures to convert to a public charter school, and Anaheim City fought it as much as they could. And LAUSD is going to fight it. But, they ended up prevailing, and they're now a public charter school, separate from Anaheim City. They run their own show, and they get funded directly from the State Department of Education. It doesn't come from the school district. So the State Department of Education, for every student that enrolls in that school, they get funding directly. So if I can make a suggestion, because I've been doing this for a number of years on the political side, is then start organizing families, start organizing your fellow parents in the schools in your community, and encourage them to separate from LAUSD by getting signatures, and talk to you can certainly talk to other folks that do this. There's a lot of lawyers that just specialize in charter school development. I'm not one of those lawyers, but I do special education. But ultimately, that's the process. And so what I'm hearing is bigger. It's different than what I would normally do. Most of my clients come to me saying, "I want to fix the problem for my kid."
Right.
Okay, and there are
right.
a handful that are interested in fixing it for the for the larger population of parents and students.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to do that, my advice, the best approach, in my opinion, would be work on trying to organize families rather than filing lawsuits. Work on trying to organize families to convert your school, because that system is already built. That's already built in. It allows you to do that. You don't have to sue LAUSD to make that happen.
Oh, okay. And is that something like, let's just say, okay, so I get to work and then I get, let's say, 100 signatures.
It's called the Parent Trigger Law. If you can look it up, former state senator Gloria Romero authored that law.
Oh, really? And Gloria?
Yeah, and if you look up Gloria Romero, is her name. If you look up Gloria Romero, her contact, she helped start the Palm Lane School in Anaheim, among other schools, and she's still very active in politics, and she may be your best contact person. She's well versed in what the process is, and she drafted the law for the state of California.
Oh, really? Wow, that's amazing. So you said Palm Lane School, you said?
Palm Lane School was the last school that in my understanding, was the last school she was involved in converting.
Oh,
and through some colleagues of mine, some colleagues assisted with some litigation in her, and she's been very well versed. And so I would try to get a hold of Gloria if you're looking to change the system on more of a grand scale. And like I said, it's not going to be an easy process, because fighting LAUSD, I mean, we're talking about a school district with a budget of $35 billion with a B dollars a year. I mean, it's a big school district.
And so who would help me fight the district? Like, let's say I contact.
Community organizer would be, I think Gloria is your first, probably your first step. If you Google search Gloria Romero, Palm Lane, you should be able to find her contact information. But she's a good resource, because what I'm hearing from you is, like, again, if you came to me and said, I just want a private school for my child, we can make that happen.
Right.
We can litigate, we can make that happen. But you're asking for something different. You're saying, I want to fix the system. And fixing the system is not something that I specialize in doing outside of the political process. So I wouldn't do it on the legal side.
Right. Oh, okay. Okay. So then that's what I'll do.
All right. So thanks for the call, though. And I wish you the best of luck. And I think that parents like you are going to make greater change. And I have faith that if you continue to persevere and you continue to motivate your fellow parents, you can make positive change for your community. I've seen it happen time and time again.
Really? You know what, Mr. Adams? I can't thank you enough. I was so extremely nervous about this conversation. You have no idea. And you completely made me feel very much at ease, and you gave me really good information, and even, to motivate me like that. I mean, that's really awesome of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure, and I wish you the best. I mean, I like I said, I've been involved on the political side in education reform for a long time. I've worked with people like, the guy that ran for state superintendent, Marshall Tuck. He didn't win because the teachers' unions are very strong.
Right.
And they have a lot of money to spend to fight against parents and people that want to change the system. But if you continue to stand up for your rights and the rights of your child, the system will change, because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen firsthand.
Right. Well,
So
can I ask
let's just
you?
continue to.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Can I ask you a quick question? And I don't know if
Yeah.
it could be kind of just like a, like just between me and you, but I I'm this is what I want to do because I want to do it for the whole entire school. But let's just say my heart, because I have this grand curse in my heart that starts to think of, well, what about everybody else? Is breaking LAUSD completely a possibility, like just in this world for anyone? Or is it like a don't even try, like you
No, it's always a possibility, but the folks that would be willing and able to do that, they'd have to have deep pockets, or you'd have to have a lot of lawyers that are willing to donate their time pro bono, and so you'd have to find a law firm that'd be willing to do that. It's possible, but it's expensive because and it's going to take a lot of time. And so there are lawyers out there that perhaps could be willing and able to do it. I'm just not in a position to. My specialty, like I said, is fighting on the special ed side.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I guess just because you gave me the confidence to ask that question, cause
That's fine.
only because
I would say yes, it's possible, and it's going to take. You just have to find the right person. But if you talk to Gloria, she knows who that person may be, and you may just be the right parent just to lead your community into action.
right,
And sometimes, you all of a sudden it's one parent, and then it's two, and then it's five, and then it's 10, and then it's 1,000, and then it's 10,000.
right,
And the more parents stand up together, the stronger you'll be. And so that's where the community organization is really important, because you sound like a really sharp mom that's got a lot of passion and a lot of care for the greater good, and that's good. I mean, we need people like you.
right.
But you have to organize yourself. You have to find other parents who are like you that are willing to stand up.
Right.
And until you get that, because what I saw with Palm Wade, for example, when they wanted to break off from Anaheim, a lot of parents were immigrants, not here legally in some cases, and the school district would use the teachers' unions to call these families and threaten them.
Right.
That they were going to be deported if they didn't rescind their signatures. There was a lot of that going on.
Right.
And so they played the teachers' union. They played dirty.
Yeah. It sounds like a world that I'm living in right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I get how the world works.
It's not just the school district, because the teachers union will step in and they'll be like, no, they don't. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do this way, because that's jobs for our teachers, and so they don't care as much. They don't care as much about kids. They care about protecting their jobs. That's what their focus is.
Right.
So they'll band together with LUSD and say, we're going to go out to these few families that are leading the charge, and we're going to find out all we can find out, and they play dirty.
Right.
And so that's what you have to be. You have to be a strong character and persevere in order to endure this whole process.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of people say I'm very strong, but wow, has this been quite a challenge for me right now in my life, having to face like the injustice and seeing that my son means so little to this district. So, but yeah, so now, I'm going to have to see where my heart goes, and if I have to contact 100 celebrities to all pitch in and help, then that's what I'll do, because...
Well, I mean, there are quite a few that already believe in the cause.
Yeah.
And so just starting with the people that are pretty well connected politically is the first step, and that's why I suggested Gloria.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so...
You'll find her. If you Google search her, you'll find her.
Okay, great. Awesome. So that's what I'll do. Okay,
All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adams. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Goodbye.